Karoline Leavitt entered the debate stage with confidence blazing in her eyes. She believed her facts were sharp, her points prepared, and her delivery ready to cut through the noise. But what she hadn't anticipated was the calm storm waiting across from her, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. The air grew thick with anticipation. Leavitt launched her argument with practiced precision, quoting policies, citing numbers, and tossing in jabs meant to rattle. At first glance, it seemed like she had the floor under control. The audience leaned in, cameras flashing, capturing every word. But Crockett, she sat there, unbothered, cool as ice, ready. Jasmine Crockett listened. That's what threw Karoline off. She didn't interrupt, didn't flinch, didn't even blink much. She just absorbed it all with a smile that said, "You're walking into a trap, and you don't even know it yet." Then, just when the crowd thought it was over, she raised her mic. "Are you done?" Jasmine asked, her voice even. The words sliced deeper than a shout ever could. Leavitt stammered slightly, nodded, unsure. Crockett stood up, not literally, but in presence. She took a breath and launched into what can only be described as the clapback of the year. Crockett didn't just answer Karoline, she unraveled her. Point by point, she exposed inconsistencies in Leavitt's logic. With facts of her own, woven into emotion and direct experience, she painted a picture that was impossible to ignore. Each word was deliberate, heavy, undeniable. The audience began to shift. They weren't just listening anymore, they were reacting. Murmurs turned into gasps, and even some of Leavitt's own supporters struggled to defend her. Crockett kept going, calling out hypocrisy with style and grace. She knew her stuff, and she wasn't afraid to show it. Leavitt tried to respond, but it was too late. The narrative had changed. She looked around, hoping to regain footing, but the crowd wasn't with her anymore. Crockett had seized the moment. Her energy was magnetic, her tone controlled yet cutting. She had all the power in that room. "You don't get to rewrite history," Jasmine said. "Not when people like me lived through it." Her voice didn't crack, her hands didn't shake. She spoke with the weight of generations behind her. It wasn't just a comeback, it was a reclaiming of truth, one sentence at a time. Karoline's eyes darted for backup, but none came. Even the moderators seemed frozen, unsure how to pivot. Jasmine continued, weaving policy into personal experience, quoting statistics with emotion, and speaking for more than just herself. It was like watching a masterclass in composure. What made it so powerful wasn't just the words, it was the delivery. Crockett wasn't angry, she was focused, composed, and every syllable she uttered carried purpose. It wasn't about shouting louder. It was about speaking clearer. And Karoline had no defense against that clarity. By now, even political analysts watching from home were taking notes. Social media lit up. Jasmine just bodied Karoline, one tweet read. Hashtags began trending. Clips were already being edited and shared. And in real time, Karoline realized the moment was slipping from her grasp. Crockett's rebuttal turned into a lesson. Not just in facts, but in grace under pressure. She didn't insult. She didn't mock. She exposed. With precision, every claim Leavitt made got addressed, dissected, and countered. It wasn't just a response, it was a dismantling. And still, Jasmine remained respectful. That's what made it sting more. She didn't need to be rude. She didn't have to yell. Her poise was the most powerful tool in her arsenal. Karoline had expected a fight. What she got was a surgical takedown wrapped in elegance. The moment became historic not because of fireworks, but because of the silence that followed. A silence filled with realization. Karoline stood there, visibly shaken. Her notes seemed useless now. Her expressions betrayed her, panic, disbelief, and ultimately, surrender. Jasmine Crockett finished with a simple line, "Next time, bring receipts." The audience erupted. That line hit like a gavel, final and firm. Leavitt tried to smile, but it faltered. The match was over, and the winner wasn't just clear, it was undisputed. The clip of that single sentence went viral. Millions watched as Crockett's words echoed through living rooms and timelines. People from both sides of the aisle admitted it. Jasmine had delivered one of the most articulate and devastating clapbacks ever seen in a political setting. Reporters scrambled to get quotes. Analysts replayed the moment over and over. Memes emerged within minutes. "Next time, bring receipts," became the phrase of the day. But underneath all the noise was a real shift, a power balance that tipped on live television. Karoline left the stage quickly, avoiding interviews. Her team looked shell-shocked. Crockett, meanwhile, was swarmed, not just with praise, but with genuine respect. Even critics admitted she had handled the moment like a seasoned pro. There was no denying it. And while Jasmine didn't gloat, Her eyes said it all. She came prepared, she stayed calm, and she won. The power of the clapback wasn't just in the moment, it was in what it represented, a new voice refusing to be silenced, and a new standard for televised debates. Behind the scenes, aides whispered. She wasn't ready, one staffer muttered, referring to Leavitt. And they were right. Karoline had underestimated her opponent. She'd expected fire, but she got ice. She wanted a fight, but Crockett gave her a masterclass instead. Commentators began writing op-eds within hours. Jasmine Crockett just changed the game, one headline read. Another said, a future political giant was born tonight. It was more than a clash, it was a turning point. Leavitt would never walk into a debate the same way again. Back in the green room, Crockett sat quietly, sipping water, smiling gently. She wasn't bragging. She didn't need to. The facts had spoken, the delivery had landed, and the response was echoing far beyond that studio. The world had watched her shine under pressure. The moment reminded everyone, words matter. Delivery matters. And when you challenge someone, you better come correct. Because the courtroom of public opinion is ruthless, and in this trial, Jasmine was both judge and jury. The clip dominated cable news for the next 24 hours. Pundits argued about tone, substance, and optics. But one thing was unanimous. Crockett controlled that stage. She didn't just survive the attack. She turned it into her spotlight. And Leavitt, she trended too, but not for the reasons she wanted. Her team tried damage control, but it was too late. The internet doesn't forget, and once a moment like that explodes, there's no putting it back in the bottle. People started sharing Crockett's past speeches, interviews, and clips. They discovered this wasn't a one-time event. She'd been delivering smart, strong, unshakable words for years. It just took this moment for the world to catch on. Donors began reaching out, supporters rallied, even major publications requested interviews. The public wanted more. They'd found a new voice, one that didn't shout, didn't insult, but commanded attention with facts and fire. Jasmine's office phone rang off the hook. Her inbox overflowed. Colleagues congratulated her, voters applauded her, and even critics acknowledged her brilliance. This wasn't just a win. It was a breakthrough. That one exchange changed the perception of Crockett. Nationwide, she wasn't just a congresswoman anymore. She was a force, a name, a brand, someone who could handle pressure and turn opposition into opportunity. Meanwhile, Leavitt regrouped. She would speak again, surely. But the shadow of that night would follow her. Every future appearance would be measured against that moment. And unfortunately, that bar had been set sky high by Crockett. Commentators warned others, if you're going to debate Jasmine, come prepared. She's not just smart, she's strategic. The political world took note. This wasn't the last we'd hear of Jasmine Crockett. Not by a long shot. Her words weren't just sharp, they were surgical. She didn't just win the argument. She won the hearts of many watching. And that's a victory far more lasting than any headline or trending topic. As the days passed, the video kept circulating. Students shared it, activists praised it, critics analyzed it, and one thing was clear, Jasmine Crockett had arrived. Fully, boldly, unapologetically. And Karoline Leavitt, she'd have to regroup, reflect, and return another day. Hopefully wiser, hopefully stronger. But one thing's for sure, she'll never forget the night she tried to challenge Jasmine Crockett, and got hit with the clapback of the century.